Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the public meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Conrad, would any of the kids like to lead us?
You guys want to do the pledge? Go ahead, Fran.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Great job. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Anna Everett. Here. Mrs. Gadsden. Present. Mrs. Galbo. Here. Mr. Garno.
Here.
Mr. Munoz.
Here.
Ms. Patchen. Here. Mr. White.
Here.
Mr. South.
Here.
Mrs. Thompson.
Excused. Dr. Walker, could you review the fire exits, please?
Yes, the fire exits are directly in the back.
Okay, thank you. Could you also now introduce the workshop?
I'd love to. This evening we are so happy to have some students from South Avenue with their principal, Mrs. Kara Conrad.
I'm going to do it from over here, just so that I'm not behind them. You guys ready? Okay. Good evening, Dr. Walkley and board members. We thank you for tonight for letting us share some of our wonderful accomplishments at South Avenue. But before we get started, I wanted to acknowledge a few people publicly. As you may know, South Avenue Elementary won first place yesterday at the Spirit of Beacon Day. We are so very proud of our accomplishment, and we would like to thank the following individuals. Mr. and Mrs. Muscat and their children, Ava and Leah. Without them, we wouldn't actually have the float. Without their vision behind it, Mr. Muscat was paramount in creating the vision and working with a lot of community members and having them over at his house daily. Katie Sasso and her daughter Hannah, they worked tirelessly on all the signs that you saw the students holding. Destiny, one of our fourth graders, and her brother Ernesto, second grade, also helped throughout the week on the float. Kathy Lagunda and her daughter Janelle, who is here with us tonight, she helped on the float and was riding on the float yesterday. Steve Rossi and his daughter Charlotte, who is in kindergarten, she was over helping with the float. Our PTA, as always, for their support, and as you will go back into exec session, there's lots of treats. I did tell them to go easy, but there's a lot. Mrs. Wirtz, who is our art teacher, who starts planning and facilitating from the day we get into school in September. She organizes the meetings and she facilitates ideas and shares the vision throughout her art classes in the weeks up till Spirit of Beacon Day. And this year, by far, I have to say we had the best turnout from our South Avenue community, and it was very enjoyable celebrating Beacon together. I felt we were a very long line going down Main Street. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. Nowadays in education, you hear a lot about data, and we talk about it almost daily. So tonight, I'd like to bring some positive data that South Avenue has earned. We recently received our state test scores, and our job going forward is to use this data to determine the parts of our instruction we are successful at and determine areas that we still need improvement on. We all know that when we continue to raise the bar for our learners, we give them the tools and we support them, what they need, our students will improve and in fact succeed. This past testing year, they did just that. And I'm going to briefly just focus on our 3s and 4s. In ELA, for grades 3, 4, and 5, our 4s went from 8% from the previous year, so that's 8% of the grades 3, 4, and 5 that were tested, to 16% this year. We were at 16% and the statewide was at 9%. And if you know anything about ELA and the ELA exam, it is very, very hard to get a 4 on that exam. Our 3s and 4s went from 29% the previous year to 37% this year, and the statewide was at 31%. Our math, again, this is for our grades 3, 4, and 5, our 4s went from 7% the previous year to 20% this year, and the statewide was 14%. Our 3s and 4s in math went from 33% the previous year to 42% this year, and statewide was at 36%. So although these numbers are not where we want them to be, it is important to recognize that we are improving, and we always want to strive for more. And I give the building and the faculty a lot of credit for working, and our students for working hard every day. Without the faculty and staff jumping in the beginning, we started the modules before they were adopted or adapted by the Board of Education here. They worked as a team with one goal in mind, offering our learners a consistent, rigorous curriculum while ensuring the instructional delivery is student-centered and fun. We often have a lot of fun during our process, as you will see tonight. Our students, without them, they come to school ready to learn and with smiles on their face almost every day. And our South Avenue families. Through this transition to the new curriculum, the curriculum that we have never faced as learners, all the adults in the room, our families have been supportive. They ask questions, and most of all, they trust us with their children. And so we are forever grateful for all our families at South Avenue. So tonight, I brought with me some South Avenue's very own Mr. Burke, who is our resident celebrity and librarian. Tonight, he's going to show us a special edition morning news show. What we do every morning is Mr. Burke primarily uses the fifth graders, but a lot of children throughout the building have an opportunity to watch a morning news show in the morning with their class, so that every classroom has it going on and they can see what's going on in our building. And then you will hear from my fourth grade experts that I brought with me tonight and what they're learning about in ELA and social studies, and how Mr. Burke connects the topic to library and media. Are we ready? Okay. First, you want to do
Yes. Good evening. So, as Mrs. Conrad said, we have TVs or smart boards in every room, and we're able to broadcast. We send it out so that every teacher can play the broadcast whenever they want. It's not all at the same time, but whenever they're ready, they can put it on, and it has things like the pledge and the lunches and all that sort of thing. Generally, it's played in the morning. And we thought that would be the easiest way to bring South Avenue here, is to put together a video of some of the things going on. I do apologize for some of the some of the students went out and we gathered information about what each grade level was doing, and then I shot a video. A lot of it's over kids' shoulders because we can't show everybody's faces here, so it doesn't all match necessarily the words with the pictures. But we wanted to give you a little broad strokes of what South Avenue is, what's happening there. So I can negotiate this technology here.
Good evening. Welcome to a special edition of the South Avenue Morning News. Today is Monday, the 29th of September. Today we could choose egg sandwich on a whole wheat bun, or for second choice you can choose ham, turkey, or salami sandwich. The cafeteria has been adding lots of fresh local choices to its menu. October's vegetable of the month is carrot. Did you know the longest carrot ever recorded was nearly 17 feet long, and that European ladies once used carrot tops to decorate their hats? Here's Jordan with tonight's weather.
South Avenue News, weather-wise.
Tonight's weather is cloudy. The high temperature today was 79 degrees, and the low will be 58. Looks like a pleasant week ahead.
It's your birthday, yes it is your birthday, it's your birthday, yes it is your birthday.
Today's birthdays are Brian Gumbel and Kevin Durant. Happy birthday! Here at South Avenue, if it's your birthday, you go down and see Miss O'Connor for a mini celebration and a little gift. Cleveland has today's sports report.
On Sunday, the Jets lost to the Lions 24-17, and Derek Jeter played his last game before he retires. Also, the Beacon Bulldogs beat East Chester to go 4-0.
We sent out our reporters to talk to teachers from all the grade levels and find out some of the ways students are learning this September.
Students in pre-K have just been getting their routines down and getting adjusted to being in school.
They are learning about fall, capitan colors, and maybe most importantly about themselves.
Kindergarten students are also spending time with adults, like making lunch choices, ruffles, raising
hands and walking in the hallway, but they are also writing in the journals. In the morning, they draw and story, then label the pictures and finally create a sentence to describe what is happening. They are also working on counting shapes in the answers. Apple book! Apple book! Apple book!
First graders are reading fairy tales to think about concepts like settings and characters.
They are also writing their own fairy tales. In technology, they are starting to create digital pictures to illustrate their stories, and in math, they are hard at work learning about number forms.
As the Common Core modules fired up, we found that the second graders were learning about ancient Greece and Greek mythology.
They will read myths and find and use them to work on stories. They will also write their own myths. The technology ties in when they make their own fantastic creatures by cutting and pasting pictures and altering them in the paint program.
Third graders are studying the world by creating atlases and writing directional sentences. They will study 3 different countries as they prepare for the Calco Bowl, and plans are in the works for another chance to Skype the students in Uganda.
They're also getting perspectives on how other communities around the world value education by reading about the great lengths people around the world go to get access to books and education.
So I have a couple of 5th graders here. What have you guys been working on? I see you have the history of the UDHR. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It's the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and we've been working on many projects on human rights.
What is the UDHR?
It's the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and it explains the human rights that everyone can have.
That everyone is equal,
Yeah.
no matter who you are or what color you are.
And there's 30 articles in the Universal.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Thank you guys. The Hudson Valley Seed Program is another exciting thing happening here at South Avenue. Students are gaining a clear understanding of how their food gets to their plate by going out into our little garden and talking with the teachers about the plants that are growing there and how those plants relate to what ends up on our table. This program is for kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd graders.
This one. No, not that one, the leaves. Grab the leaves. Would everyone grab the one with yellow? Excuse me, yellow leaves?
This one like this. I'm like this.
What are you putting in your journal? Worms. Good job. What did you put in your
Can you tell me what you wrote down about in your journal?
So, lemon, zucchini, pumpkin, and mint.
When we were away, she passed by a garden with colors so bright she never had seen.
And there you have it, a brief glimpse into some of the wonderful things happening here at South Avenue from all the grades. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe we're forgetting somebody. Oh yes, the 4th grade. But don't worry, we've sent some representatives from 4th grade to tell you all about what they're doing.
Magnificent Monday night begin.
It's not quite that extensive every morning, but you got the gist of it at the beginning, pretty much.
Okay, so now I have my fourth graders here with me, and I think we're going to allow them to sit if they want, and then maybe stand if they feel like, because I think some of them want to stay seated, which is fine. So I have two students who are going to introduce. I have Esteban and Andre, who are going to introduce the topic that they're going to be talking about tonight.
In fourth grade, we have started to study about New York State. We have done a map of where the main waterways are. Also, we have done a New York State physical map. Another map is the major cities in the state of New York. We have also studied a map about New York's agriculture.
Also, we have been working on the New York State flag. We have been watching videos of the Haudenosaunee. We also have books about New York State. The people of the Haudenosaunee are very thankful for everything that they have.
Thank you, Esteban and Andre. Now I'm going to have Addie's going to explain some of our big questions and our guiding questions and our big ideas in this module.
Guiding questions and big ideas. How can our class benefit from the beliefs and agreements of the Haudenosaunee? Peace can be created and sustained through agreements and actions. The ways history is passed down through generations varies with different cultures.
The students, since the new curriculum has come out years ago, a big strategy that they've been using is close reading. There's lots of research that supports, from Partnerships for Assessment of Readiness for College and Career, that links the close reading and the complexity of the text, whether the student is a struggling learner or a learner that's advanced, that they have significant gains in reading and their proficiency find from close reading, and it helps close the gap. So Lowell's going to introduce close reading for us.
Close reading is really getting in the text. Our teacher refers to it like a scientist using a magnifying glass, studying the text closely. That's why it's called close reading. It's finding all the stuff in the text.
Boys and girls, I'm going to ask you, what do close readers do? What are some other things that close readers do when they're reading? Kayla?
You read over, you find chunks of the text, and you find the definition of a word you don't know what it means.
Good job, Kayla. Olivia?
Close reading is reading the text over and over again until you understand it.
Boys and girls, if you have a question when you're done reading, what should you do when you're reading a paragraph? If you get stuck and you have questions, what do you do?
Go back and read it again.
Good job, you find it in the text. Good job, boys and girls. And I think I have Henry, who's going to describe, all right, Mrs. Conrad, they've been trying to teach me how to say this all afternoon. Haudenosaunee. They're smiling. They were laughing at me earlier.
The Haudenosaunee means people of the long house. Haudenosaunee is also the more respectful way of saying their name. If you walked up to somebody, one of the Haudenosaunee people, and said, "You're an Indian, right?" that would be disrespectful and they would probably take offense. What I'm saying is just because their ancestors were Haudenosaunee doesn't mean that they're not people.
I have to tell you, the boys and girls came up with this presentation on their own.
There have been many different ways Native Americans hunt. They set traps and then they go in the morning and take the food. Every time they would kill an animal and eat it, they would give thanks, and they would use every part of the animal, and because they believed that the animal gave up their life for them.
Good job. They also learned about Thanksgiving, and they took particular interest in Thanksgiving and the Thanksgiving address. So Janelle's going to share a little bit about Thanksgiving.
The Haudenosaunee does not give thanks only once a year. They give thanks every day. And they also do the Ganyok, which is also called the words that come before all else.
So my experts want to share a little bit about the address or the blessing that they give before their Thanksgiving. So Misha's going to start.
Mother Earth gives us what we need for life, and it gives us joy for her to keep caring for us.
Very good passage, Rona.
We now turn our thoughts to the trees. The earth has many families of trees who have their own instructions and uses. Some provide us with shelter, shade, some with fruit, beauty, and other useful things. Many people of the world use a tree as a symbol of peace and strength. With one mind, we send our greetings to the true life. Now our minds are one.
I'll pass it to Andre. Love you.
We put our minds together as one and thank all the birds who move and fly about all over our heads. The Creator gave them beautiful songs. Each day they remind us to enjoy and appreciate life. The eagle was chosen to be their leader to all the birds, from the smallest to the largest. We send our joyful greetings and our thanks. Now our minds are one.
And the four winds.
We are all thankful to the powers we know as the four winds. We hear their voices in the moving air as they refresh us and purify the air we breathe. They help us to bring the change of seasons. From the four directions they come, bringing us messages and giving us strength. With one mind, we send our greetings and thanks to the four winds. Now our minds are one.
Nice reading, boys and girls. Who can talk a little bit about the connections to Thanksgiving? We had a conversation today, and you guys were sharing what some of the connections to Thanksgiving were. Do you want to share a little bit more?
Just today, I had a connection to other prayers, like Jewish prayers, because like what they just said, it sounded it didn't sound like as we normally speak. It sounded more like a prayer, and I connected that to the scroll of prayers that the Jews do, the very religious Jews do. It starts on the first day after Rosh Hashanah and it ends on Rosh Hashanah, and that's my connection.
They noticed when they were reading these, as Lowell was saying, that a lot of them, it ends with "Now our minds are one," and the boys and girls were saying how it sounds a little more sing-songy and that we don't normally speak like that. And Thomas is going to have our closing for us.
This is what we have been doing in 4th grade. Do any of you have any questions about our presentation?
Are there any questions about the presentation? Yes, Dr. Walkley?
Well, I don't have a question, but I do want to thank all the boys and girls for coming, and you, Mrs. Conrad, and especially Mr. Burke, because Mr. Burke is one of our teacher leaders. He took on a special role last year. This is the second year that he's in that role. And you can see how he's helping all the students connect the world to English language arts. So they're reading, writing, listening, and speaking every time they're visiting with Mr. Burke. And that's so important for the ELA testing. And you can see the results that they're getting because of his work and the work of all the teachers at South Avenue.
So we're going to do two or three more questions. And I think we should ask the adults some questions. What do you guys think? Real quick? All right, real quick. Mr. Burke.
So, it's just interesting, the technology. We have so many priorities. Obviously, ELA and math are these big priorities, but obviously I'm focused on technology, knowing that technology is going to be awfully important for our students when they get to the age of finding a job. They're going to need that technology piece as well. And it's, the first year I might have spent teaching the technology, but now I pretty much get to use the technology to do the teaching. And so this is just an example of that, where we use Google Earth to bring in, to tie into what they've been doing, help visualize. In second grade, we went to Greece and walked the streets of Greece and saw some of the things they were learning about. And these guys are studying New York State, so we've done something similar here. They earned their Geo Explorer badges by answering these questions and finding them on Google Earth, and we'd like to see if maybe you could answer a few of those questions first. Rowan, you want to ask the first question? Or is it oh.
This is one of the 7 wonders of the world right here in New York State, but the view is better from Canada. What is it?
Anybody?
Anybody want to answer that?
You can raise your hands if you like.
Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls. Very good. Yes. Give that man a badge. So, of course, they get to, we don't always get to go to Niagara Falls, but this tool does allow us to get us, back in our day, we would have the encyclopedia. Maybe there was a picture or a paragraph in there, but now, you can walk the streets and visualize it pretty well. And one more question. I think Andre was going to do number 2.
These legs look like a giant hand from above. What's the answer?
Anybody want to answer?
Go ahead.
The Finger Lakes?
Very nice, very nice.
Yes.
Finger Lakes. And so you get to really kind of see that in an effective way using the technology piece. That's it. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you. I want to thank again all of our students that came. Can you guys stand up so we can give you a round of applause? And thank you all families of our match tonight. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody from South Avenue. Thank you all kids for coming down to our meeting. We really appreciate it. We don't get much of a chance to go out to the school, so it's great to have you come visit us and see what we do. I think we have some future newscasters here, and I think we'll all, I can speak on behalf of the board when I say that it looks like you guys have a great time in school, and it makes us wish that we were back in school too. So, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
May I have a motion to adjourn to executive session?
Motion to adjourn to executive session to review the employment history of a particular individual, and the board will return as soon as possible.